Welcome to Fantasy Football Aces. It's your boy, William Wolf. I'm back. And it's Thursday night football. Hey, I want to start this pod off by saying I'm the GOAT. I want the fucking belt. Yeah, I want the fucking belt.
Another hits jam from WAPloaded.com.
Shane Stiddick, I'm coming after you, motherfucker. I want this motherfucking belt. Man, I started off this podcast in 2023, the first year ever I started this podcast. I've been on this fantasy football shit for 20 years, at least 20 years. I mean, that's actually right around the time, 16 years old in high school. Like, fantasy was like nothing. Yahoo Sports, Yahoo was big. It was like the only thing you could really do. And we started fucking with it early, right? Like, the same people, the OGs you see in the game, Matthew Berry and all these motherfuckers, like, we've been on this shit just as long, right? And I've had a busy life, but, you know, in 2023, I decided to launch the Fantasy Football Aces. I had some big things in mind. Wanted to show how elite I was at this game. Wanted to show how competitive the diamond is. A big buy-in with a group of very competitive men who have been competing against each other since high school for the most part, for most of us. And the buy-in has grown ever since then as we've gotten older. I don't think that the buy-in is ever going to be have an end ceiling. I think that, you know, this is going to keep raising and rising as the years progress. And I thought it'd be a cool idea to give a glimpse and just show how elite I am at the game, how seriously I take it. I see all the other experts in the game, all these other big podcasts that are legit. They've been going on for years, right? And parallel track, like, I've been doing the same things, just haven't had a podcast or cared to show my knowledge, right? But all these different tools that I've given to you throughout this year that I use, like, snap shares and just little things like that that I'm not even going to go into depth, all the PFF stuff, and all these different websites that you can get advanced analytics on and really dive in deeper into a reason why a player is due for positive or negative regression, etc. I fucking come on and fucking dominate this fucking league from start to finish, giving out videos before the year started, tools and guys that you should be drafting later, undervalued receivers, undervalued running backs, guys that you should stay away from at receiver, guys that you should stay away from at running back, tight end, quarterbacks. Bro, my fucking success rate on those was probably 96%, or, I probably got like a few wrong. Off the top of my head, Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney, way off on those guys, right? Like, it just so happened that production went out the window, and it went to Isaiah Pacheco. That's where that production and that offense went from year 2022 to 2023. You're talking about a lot of production in that offense that either went out the window. It's just a down year for Mahomes, or it went to Pacheco. Pacheco's having a monster year for fantasy as far as Kansas City's running back's concerned. The wealth is not being spread as much through those running backs, and he has, had a productive year outside of being injured. He's probably going to miss this week. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a smash start in fantasy football, DraftKings. He's also a guy that I would highly recommend plug and playing in your fantasy championship. Hypothetically, if you have Devon Achane or somebody like that, I would be looking to start one of those kind of players over a 50% snap share guy who doesn't get goal line carries. Like, these are things, point of emphasis, things that I've given you throughout this year, you know, that you should fuck with me going forward, right? Like, if I continue to do this and like maybe I'm just a 1 year kind of thing, I just did it for fun this year, you know, win the ship, win the belt, and then, you know, be out at this bitch because, you know what I'm saying, nobody really watches this. But if you do and you fuck with me, you should share this shit and, you know, let people know that a real G is on here on the internet giving out fucking knowledge that can help you win and win money, bro. My DraftKings lineups, I went on a run here like the last 6 weeks. I've hit on every single one of them. And it's just math, guys. Like, when you're playing the right lineups and playing the right players, you're inevitably going to cash and win money in these things, right? Just the way it is. Like, if you play poker in the long term, if you're always putting your money in good, like, regardless of the results, in the long term, you're going to win. You just have to have the bankroll to sustain it. Or, you know. But we're going to get into the matchup today. I'm just going to go to the channel here, see if I get any start-sit questions. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Man, I'm a goon. All right. So, this isn't going to be a long one today. We got Thursday night football, Browns versus Cleveland. Browns versus Cleveland. Browns versus Jets, plus 7.5. I've been giving out picks all year. They've been real good, hot, good picks. Kind of slowed down on those because they lost my interest. Just more peaked in the fantasy football season now, and DraftKings and just my play of the week, which was this last week, was the Chicago Bears and the Miami Dolphins. Co-main picks last week, hit on both of those. So if you're following me with that kind of shit, like, I got you. I'm gonna give you that pick of the week again this week. I'm not gonna even give any suspense when it comes to that. I'm running it back. I'm playing the Bears -3 against the Falcons at home, and I'm playing Dolphins plus some change against the Ravens on the road. And I'm going to just give you one reason why. Defense. One word, one reason. Defense. The Bears and Miami's defense, they're both top 3 in the league right now. I believe Vic Fangio is going to absolutely shut down that Ravens offense. I think you're going to see Lamar Jackson, the darling in media at the very moment. Just they switch up all the fucking time. It was Purdy last week. You know what I'm saying? It just switches up. Lamar Jackson's going to get locked up. He's going to get exposed. The man can't read defenses. All he does is scramble, drill, throw. They don't have the weapons. You know, San Francisco, they should have been more prepared because simply they play against Kyler Murray twice a year. You would think that they'd be prepared for that kind of thing. But Vic Fangio, he's going to be ready for that shit. And they got all the pieces to give them fits. Chubb, Wilkinson, Van Ginkel, these kind of guys, they're going to be rushing the passer with Ramsey and Howard on the island. Odell and company, you know, Flowers, Bateman, they're not going to be able to get open. It's really going to be up to Lamar. And if you've seen Lamar's career and followed it closely like I have, like when he runs into elite defenses that are really prepared for him, like, for example, when they play the Cleveland Browns within the division every year, he gets fucking locked. He can't do shit. This is the time of the year that you take advantage of Vegas giving 3 points to you against them because they're overvalued right now. On the contrary, the other pick, the Bears, they're hot, man. They covered against everybody the last 4 weeks. I know the Browns game, they ended up being essentially a push or even an L depending on when you got that line in. But the initial line was 3.5, 4 points against Cleveland. It got bought down. It got pushed down all the way by the market into 2.5. But the Bears, their defense is elite, man. They're going to absolutely shut down the Falcons' offense. The Bears are most elite against the run, as are the Miami Dolphins against the run. And the Falcons and the Ravens, they're both run-based offenses, run-based teams. And Tyler Haneke for the Falcons, he's going to get absolutely locked up. Now, let's go into the matchup here. The Criminals versus Wolfman for the championship. I'm going to talk about his matchups first. He's got a decision to make between Kyler Murray and Matthew Stafford. Both good decisions. You got Philadelphia Eagles. He's sick right by now, by the way, Kyler, but he's going to play. On the road against Philly, a defense that is top 3 worst defense in the league against the pass. I think Kyler Murray is a good streaming option. I think he's a good option in DraftKings. But it's going to be hard for the Criminals to start him over Stafford. I mean, Stafford's just been red hot. He's going against a Giants defense that's not good. They're a bottom feeder team in the NFL right now. The Rams, when they're fully healthy with Puka, Kupp, Kyren Williams, and Stafford, I guess, just those two with Kyren, along with Tutu Atwell and now Robinson. When those guys have all been healthy in the lineup at the same time, their offense has been the number 1 offense in the NFL. I was a huge Stafford guy this whole year. If you followed the channel, I always said that he was due for some massive positive regression as far as TDs are concerned. He was just too good. The offensive line has gotten healthier, and they're just a juggernaut right now as an offense. McVay's dialing it up. Any given week, a different guy can beat you up as far as Kyren, Puka, and Cooper Kupp go. The other 2 players, Higbee, Robinson, Tutu, they play their role, and Robinson's carved a nice little role for himself in this offense, getting 97% snaps a game. They're essentially running 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back sets all the time. With Robinson playing with Stafford, he's relying on a TD from him. Outside of that, he's the 3rd target on the team, really the 4th if you think about Kyren Williams being out there as well. So it just really depends on like the script and if he gets a red zone target or not. But Robinson's caught a touchdown in I think 4 straight games, which has really caused relevance for him in fantasy. Yeah, there's been 4 straight games with a TD. He's probably due to not get a TD this week, which would be nice for me. But he's a good play. I don't see how he would go away from him. DJ Moore, banged up last week, but it looks like he is just fine. They don't even have an injury designation for him. He's literally just full go. So against Atlanta, a really tough defense in general, good against receivers, good against tight ends, good against running backs. They're good against everything essentially except running quarterbacks, which luckily I have one of those. DJ Moore, he's pretty much matchup proof though. When you're going against DJ Moore though, you're happy to be facing one of those bottom teams against the receivers. Essentially, when I say bottom, I mean like the worst teams for receivers to be facing. So a top 5 defense against receivers, essentially Atlanta Falcons. They have a really good secondary and they have a good scheme. And they've played well this year. So you're happy when you're going against DJ Moore, but if you have him, you're starting him, dude. He's an elite guy and he's the focal point of the offense, and Fields is hyper focused on him. Fields really doesn't even throw any touchdowns outside of him and Kmet. He doesn't throw it to anybody. He doesn't throw it to Mooney. He doesn't throw it to anybody. It's really just those 2 guys that are running the ball or him running himself. We talked about Robinson there. He's got a decision at his 3rd receiver. He can either go with Odell Beckham. Waddle is out. He can go with He can go with a free agent somewhere, but I've blocked a shitload of receivers from him. All the decent flyer receivers, essentially, I've picked them up. Sutton's going to be on a bye. I think Shane would have loved to give Mims Jr. in his lineup, so I made sure I picked him up. Osborne, you got Addison, who's probably going to be out with an ankle injury. I didn't want to get him in his lineup against sorry-ass Green Bay's secondary. Blocked them there. I already had Douglas and Boyd on my roster. Both pretty good flyer receivers, right? I'd say they're definitely better than DJ Chark or Odell Beckham. I think all these guys are at the very least at least equal to them, right? And depending on the matchups, Miami's a tough matchup for Odell Beckham. On the contrary, Mims Jr. and Osborne have really good matchups. So I was happy to block with those two guys from him starting those two guys. I don't know what he's gonna do here, but between Chark and Odell, they're both terrible. So it's like it's very good for me, obviously, that Waddle got hurt. Waddle really hasn't been that great this year in general, but he is over 1,000 yards, and he is, somebody that you'd be happy to start on a week-in basis in the Miami Dolphins offense. And I've said that all year long. You just want a piece of that Miami Dolphins offense, and he had a good piece with Waddle, and now he doesn't get a chance to start him in the championship. That's huge for me. Two bad receivers essentially, and then a good receiver with a bad matchup. That's the reason why I'm a favorite, 118 to 112. His running backs can't get any better. It can't get any better than ETN against Carolina and Christian McCaffrey against Washington. Absolutely smash running back spots for these two guys. I think that, if he wins this week, it's going to be because Christian goes for 30 and ETN goes for like 20 something. That will give him 50 something points there. And then on top of that, he just has a decent day from everybody else, and I have a down week. That is how he's going to come out with a victory in this matchup. And that can easily happen. So for me, I'm hoping I can get lucky and Christian McCaffrey only has one touchdown. And I'm hoping I can get lucky and ETN doesn't get any touchdowns. That's the hope and dreams. At tight end, he's going to go with Dalton Schultz. I think he's going to ball. I think that if I'm lucky, I have to hope that he avoids a touchdown because Tennessee, CJ Stroud's coming back. No Tank Dell. I think that Schultz is going to be somebody that CJ looks to a lot. He's going to be a guy, besides Nico Collins, who I happen to have, he's going to be the second target for CJ Stroud. It's really a matter of who gets the touchdowns in those games between Nico and him, as far as that's concerned. David Montgomery, man, you guys should know how I feel about him the last 6 weeks, man. He's a touchdown-dependent running back. He's not getting a lot of receptions. He's not getting a full workload anymore. He's at best 50% snap share. He's been in the 30s plenty the last few weeks. But is old reliable. He's just been reliable this whole year. He'll get you a touchdown. Look at this shit, man. He's got a touchdown almost every single game, man. It's kind of crazy, but he can get you to 10 points almost on just he's a 10-point guy. I mean, look at it. Touchdowns in almost every single game. So, against Dallas, I'm hoping he doesn't get a touchdown, but he's not going to kill me. Montgomery's not going to kill me with Gibbs fully emerged right now at this point. So it's really avoiding these two guys from absolutely destroying me, ETN and McCaffrey. Interesting play here. I don't know if he's going to go through with it or not, if he's going to make a last-second decision, but he started the Jets every single week this year, every week. And then in the championship week, he's trying to get cute and play a Houston defense against the Tennessee Titans. I don't know if that's the smartest play in the world. We'll see if he sticks with it, but it is a little strange, man. It really is, because he has committed to playing Moody and Jets every single week this year, and then he's trying to get cute the last week of the year. It's a little strange. We'll see what happens there. Either way, I'm not overly concerned about either one of those defenses just blowing up and killing me. On to my team. You got Justin Fields going against Atlanta. Really, really tough defense. I think the bright side that I have going for me is that it's in Chicago, so he's at home. I love playing quarterbacks at home. That's important to me. You know, you get the cadence, you're able to communicate with your receivers, your offensive coordinator better. It's a little bit more quiet when you're on offense, significantly more quiet. And you know, you should have better splits at home and play better at home. I know Atlanta's been a little vulnerable against running quarterbacks, so I expect, you know, Justin to get loose in this game, rush for at least 70 yards, and I need a touchdown out of him rushing. If I can get a touchdown out of him rushing, I'm probably going to win this matchup, to be honest with you, because it's going to be tough to beat me if he gets another 26, 27 points. Amon-Ra St. Brown against Dallas, very tough matchup Saturday night, but he's super hot right now. He's in the flames. Back-to-back weeks in the 20s in the fantasy playoffs. Ever since the Bears game where he got locked up, it looks like he's on a mission again, hyper-focused again, and it looks like the Detroit offense really wants to get him the ball and target him heavily over Laporta and Jameson. You know, run the ball and get the ball to St. Brown. That's the formula they need to be a really good, successful offense, and I think that it continues against Dallas. I don't think that you know, the Gilmore or the interception leader, forget his name, Brand. He's made a lot of big plays this year, but I think he's definitely overrated. When I say overrated, I just mean as a cover corner. Sorry, I got to look at this because it's gonna bother me, these kind of things. But yeah, Bland, I said it right, Bland, Deron Bland. I think he can eat those guys up, truthfully, the way he plays. So I'm not overly concerned about him. I would expect, you know, a floor of at least 14 points for St. Brown. I'd say at least 90 yards, at least probably 8 catches at the very least. Nico Collins, this is the guy I'm actually really relying on to win me the matchup this week. Last week I called for it. I said I need Puka Nacua to have a big week. And then I also said that I was expecting DeAndre Swift and Justin Fields to have big weeks. And they all delivered for me, guys. DeAndre got a touchdown. Could have been more. He got stopped at the 1-yard line. Justin Fields, it could have been a bigger game for him as well. But, you know, 27 is very, very good in the fantasy semis. Amon-Ra St. Brown stepped up for me more than I even expected last week. He had one of the biggest games of the year. Over 100 yards, 10 catches, a tutty. So that was huge. I'm not even asking for that from him this week as much as I'm asking. I think Nico this week against Tennessee with C.J. Stroud coming back in a must-win kind of situation to make the playoffs. I think he's going to be hyper-focused on as far as the target is concerned. I would get him in your DraftKings lineups if you can. I'm calling this right now. Nico Collins, $150+ yards. And at least 1 touchdown, possibly 2 touchdowns for him. I think it's going to be they too fucking little for Nico Collins. I'll be in this bitch with my belt talking my shit about Nico Collins because I fucking think he's in a ball this weekend. Puka Nacua, I'm hoping that, you know, they ride the wave with him. He's on pace to break a lot of records. I think that they're well aware of that and they want to get him the ball. I think he's made it clear that he's the best receiver on the team, and I know he's in the same receiving room as Cooper Kupp, but I'm telling you right now, this kid's better. Kupp, you know, he's not at full speed yet. He's still recovering from the ankle and stuff like that. So maybe that's a reason why. But currently on the field right now, Puka is better than him, guys. Just turn on the tape. This kid's unbelievable, man. He makes all the plays. He runs all the routes. He can jump over you. He can beat you on a crosser and outrun you. He can run through you on jet sweeps or screen passes. He has a high IQ against zone where he'll just stop in the weak parts of the zone and just get open for Matthew Stafford. Big target, really good hands. I think he's elite, guys. So I'm just hoping they ride that wave for him, but I don't necessarily think that it's going to be another 100-yard game and touchdown from him. I'd be lucky if that happened, but I think it's more going to be, you know, just back to his consistency, which is like, you know, 7 catches and about 80 yards. And then if you're lucky, you get a touchdown. Tony Pollard, man, I haven't really, you know me, I've been a big Tony supporter this whole year, based upon mathematics. And the reason why I think Tony is elite is because of the situation that he's in, and a top 3 offense in the NFL, a 70% plus snap guy who gets goal line carries. That automatically puts you in an elite category. And that's what Tony Pollard is. And I'm going to stand on my high horse and stick with that. He had an awful 1-yard run last week against the Miami Dolphins. It's definitely gone viral. Everybody's talking about it. He definitely should have scored there. It was a weak run. But you know what I saw from Tony the rest of the game when I watched the tape and turned on the tape? Ever since that run, that game, the rest of his runs, the rest of the game, I've never seen him run so hard. Now, granted, it wasn't super productive. He was playing against a very good Miami run defense. Dude, he was running hard as fuck. I think that shit woke him up. Detroit is 32nd. They're the hardest defense in the NFL against running backs for fantasy. But that doesn't necessarily mean they're just a GOAT fucking run defense. It's more so because their pass defense is so vulnerable that it's a funnel. And people just pass on them because they know they can. I think I'm optimistic this week that he gets at least 1 touchdown, maybe 2. I have just this weird feeling. I think that he's going to run really hard the rest of the year, man. I think that maybe that last run against Miami on the goal line was actually a wake-up call to him, like to stop really going through the motions, and you need to fucking really fight, man, especially because he's in a franchise tag year. His market value has gone down tremendously. I have a good feeling about Tony this week, even in a tough matchup. DeAndre Swift against Arizona. They're the worst team in the NFL right now against the run. Herbert had a huge game against them for the Bears. Justin Fields ran all over them. Everybody's been running all over them. I think you can mark DeAndre Swift down for over 100 yards and at least 1 touchdown. So he's going to be good for me. I'm just happy that I have that matchup with him this week. That's huge for me because it's going to essentially cancels out whatever Travis Etienne's going to do. I think Swift will match him regardless. Isaiah Likely, I'm not 100% having him locked in yet. I have Gerald Everett as well down here, and I love the matchup. Denver's number 1 defense in the NFL for points given up to tight ends. I think that Gerald Everett has an opportunity 3 weeks in a row with 8 targets each to have a massive game against them. I really do. Palmer might not play. Keenan Allen's out. I think Everett will be like possibly the number 1 target in this offense. And Denver, you know, they're sitting Russell Wilson. They're giving up on the year. Stick, he played well last week. I think Everett's actually a better start than Likely. It's just going to be a ballsy move, and I haven't fully decided on it yet. Raheem Mostert, tough matchup against Baltimore, but I'm not sitting my MVP. I'm just not. He's banged up. I think he's going to play. They're saying he's going to play. So I have to wait on my word there from that. I have Jeff Wilson. So if Raheem Mostert doesn't play, I'm sliding Jeff Wilson in. I'm not on board with Achane. I'm just not. I think Jeff Wilson Jr. will get the goal line carries if Achane's out. I think he'll get 50% snaps, and I even think that he might start over Achane if Mostert is out. So Achane has a role on that team. He's a gadget guy. He's more than a gadget guy. He's a running back, but they really have packages for him and use case for him, and they're gonna sub Jeff Wilson in for Raheem Mostert's role if Raheem's out. So it's essentially like I'm just plugging in, right? Raheem's better than Jeff Wilson. That's the difference. He's a better player. He's faster. He's more talented. That's the difference. But Jeff Wilson was great for Miami last year when he played. So I'm not afraid to sub him right in if Raheem Mostert doesn't play. Picked up Sanders back into my lineup. I played him on this stretch here. 11, 12, 10, 9, 12. And then I dropped him last week against a tough, what in theory was a tough defense against kickers. He's dropped 22. I really regretted that. Win, lose, or draw, I don't care what the outcome is. I'm going to die or live with Jason Sanders. He was really good for me in the stretch. And he proved to me in 22 last week that I was a fucking bonehead for getting rid of him. So I'm going right back to him, and we're going to ride with him in the finals. Chicago's defense against Atlanta, I told you earlier, they're elite. They're top 3 in the NFL right now. They're going against Heineke. They're going to lock him the fuck up. So I think this could be a massive game for Chicago, to be honest with you. I think that this could be like a 13-plus point game for them. I think that's even possible they get a touchdown against Atlanta. So I'm excited for that. Overall, you know, I think I'm going to win, man. I have to avoid a massive day from CMC and ETN. And even if he does get a massive days out of them, I still think I can win because I can match that with Nico Collins, Swift, possibly St. Brown or Puka, possibly even a massive day from Chicago's defense. So I'm not really necessarily afraid of them going bonkers on me, because really what I have to avoid is like the Mickey Mouse guys getting a touchdown. I have to avoid Chark having a day. I have to avoid Robinson having a day. I have to avoid Schultz touchdown, and I have to avoid Montgomery touchdown. If I can avoid those, then I should win this week. But it's all up to the fantasy gods at this point. Nothing you can do about it. Happy to be a slight favorite in this matchup. You know, we're splitting the money down the middle essentially. So we're just playing for the belt, and I want that fucking belt, boys. And but you know, bragging rights, starting this podcast in 2023 and delivering, you know, with all the content that I gave out, and then winning the championship to validate everything that I've been saying and doing on this podcast. Man, y'all got to give it up, bro. I'll holla at y'all, though, man.
Another hits jam from WebLoaded.com.